Hi everybody, it's Win. Hey guys, it's Daniel. Hi, it's Kim Kim. My name's Little Bronwyn. Hello everyone, it's Ed. Hi everybody, it's Kit. And welcome to another video by the Entropy System. Hi everybody, it's Win, and welcome to another video by the Entropy System. Today's video topic was suggested and voted upon by our patrons. If you are interested in becoming a patron, a link to our Patreon is in the description below. This month, our patrons asked to hear how we communicate with each other as a system. Now, I already did a video about this a while back where we discussed things like meditation and using a system journal to kind of communicate with one another, and you can find the link to that right over here. But in this video, I thought I'd go through some more abstract ways that we've learned to communicate with one another, especially because sometimes you don't have time to sit down and journal or sit down and have like a focused meditation, but you still need to be able to get a message through to your alters. The first way is definitely the most convenient way, even though it's not always the most effective way, and it's definitely not always something that's possible. And that is just thinking back and forth to each other. Since we share a brain, there's no real need all the time to speak out loud if we're going to talk to one another. So it can be, you could compare it to telepathic communication, but it's just people in the head talking in the head. So for example, if Daniel was very, very co-conscious with me, we could have a full back and forth conversation just thinking back and forth in the head. It's nice, it's convenient, it's quick, it's just as good as having a conversation, you know, with a friend on the outside. However, that requires whoever is on the inside to be paying very active attention to what is going on with me when I'm fronting. Not everybody pays attention all the time, and sometimes nobody's paying attention to who's up front. The next method, I generally only do when I'm by myself, because otherwise I'd probably get some weird looks, but that is talking out loud to communicate to the headspace. So I would talk out loud just like I am right now to you guys, but I would be speaking to whoever I wanted to hear me on the inside, or just to everyone on the inside. This is something I do often if someone is panicking on the inside. I will out loud talk about the steps that I'm taking to make sure I'm safe in a situation, or reasons that certain fears will not come to fruition, examples of how we've kept ourselves safe in the past. And I'll say this stuff out loud. But if I'm having a particularly hard time reaching back into the headspace, thought talk won't just go back for me. I have to say things out loud for them to get through. I think this is because everyone is thinking all the time, and so thought noise can just be white noise to whoever's inside, and they may not think to pay attention if I'm trying to get a hold of them. But if I say something out loud, that's different. And if I say something out loud when I'm not around anybody, if anyone's even paying a little bit of attention, that would be a sign like, oh, there's something I should probably pay attention to right now. So if someone on the inside were to hear my voice, and then we have like little TVs in our apartments where we can see what's going on, like through the eyes of the body, like be aware of what's going on in the outside world. So if someone were to hear my voice and then look on the TV and see that nobody is around me, they probably would think, she's probably talking to one of us. I'll pay attention for a second. And usually that works to get the message across. There are times where I have no access to the inner world at all. Like I can't feel the inner world. I can't sense anyone around. But if I speak out loud, I've been told once I get back in contact with people that most of the time, whoever I'm trying to talk to in the headspace receives that message in some capacity, even if it's a little like fuzzy, they still got it. So speaking out loud to my inside world is fairly effective. A third way we communicate, and this is a little bit untraditional, non-traditional. It's something that my therapist calls unblending, and she uses this as a grounding tool for anyone who's having like a lot of really intense emotions at once and kind of just like feels confused as to what they're feeling or overwhelmed by how much they're feeling. In addition to that, it works for us as a system dealing with big emotions that maybe other alters are feeling, because in our system at least, when an alter is feeling big emotions like fear or disgust, happiness, but happiness is generally straightforward and no one wants to get rid of that, will bleed from whatever alter is feeling that to alters around them. Like the littles are extremely close to me emotionally, and so if they start feeling like being afraid of something or being sad about something, suddenly I'll start feeling afraid or sad and I don't know why. If I start feeling an emotion and I don't know why I'm feeling it, that's an indicator to me that it is not my emotion. And so I'll do this unblending thing. So unblending, you say kind of stream of consciousness what you're feeling in the third person. So if it was me, Win, talking about my feelings, if I was distressed, I'd say, she feels distressed, she feels slighted, she feels like she wants to go home, she feels, and with no judgment on what I'm feeling, just state what I'm feeling. And it kind of, with that stream of consciousness, is meant to get you to more of an understanding of what you're feeling and where that came from. When I'm feeling an emotion that's not mine, it helps me in many ways. One, it lets me figure out who is feeling the emotion, or if multiple parts are feeling different extreme emotions, I can kind of separate that out and figure out where they're coming from. It helps me figure out what outside trigger made these emotions kick off. And once I am able to do that, then I am able to address the emotions as in a comforting, rational way, to calm down whatever parts are in need, whether that's, comforting, reminding them that we're okay, or changing a situation in the outside world to make them feel more safe or comfortable or at ease. Definitely in your own life, use that unblending tool if you're feeling overwhelmed. It is pretty great. But that's something that we've incorporated as, a part of system communication, and we found it really effective. Another way that we've used system communication, and this is also a little non-traditional, and can be a little ineffective, because if you've ever played a game of telephone, you know that if you're passing messages through people, the beginning message and the ending message isn't always exactly the same. But if we are having trouble reaching an alter on the inside, we can kind of go, if I need to reach Kim, and I can't for whatever reason, well, I know that Kim lives with Kit, and I can reach Kit. So I can talk to Kit and say, hey, will you ask Kim this? And she can go back and kind of be our in-between while we sort out whatever it is that's keeping us from talking to one another. I've also had this happen in reverse, where in this example, Kit would come to me and say, hey, Kim's feeling this way about something, but for whatever reason, you can't tell. So please do with this what you need to. Not being able to talk to each other directly is obviously not ideal, but sometimes that's what happens, and you just have to cope. We seem to have really inconsistent levels of communication. Normally, they're very good, but then for whatever reason, sometimes communication between specific ones of us will just die off for a little bit. Sometimes I'll get completely cut out from the inner world for a while and not know why. So we have to be ready with different forms of communication for different situations, basically at all times, because we haven't figured out why stuff like that happens yet. But yeah, that's it on our non-traditional system communication. I hope that you found that insightful. I hope that you found that interesting. If you're a system and you have, different non-traditional, not a journal ways to communicate with one another, let me know in the comments below, especially if it's inner world level communication. That I'm really interested in hearing about how people do that and maybe incorporating some of your tricks into my own life. If you're not a system and you're hearing this, does it make sense to you, or is there something that I talked about that's kind of confusing that I can elaborate more on? Leave your questions down below. I do try to get to all of them. I don't always get to do that, but the entire world is practicing isolation right now, so I have more free time than usual. And whether you're a system or not, I want you all to remember that you are loved, you are valuable, and you are valid. Take care, everybody. Bye! Before I sign off, I'd like to thank Elizabeth and all of our patrons for supporting our channel and helping us do what we do on a weekly basis. You guys are awesome, you make these videos possible, you help us create better content every day. Also, if you haven't heard, then where have you been? We've been invited to speak at the Entitled to Life conference in November in San Francisco. Make sure to click the link in the description below for more information, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter for information about giveaways and sponsorships.